Hello class, welcome back to another distance learning lesson. So today we're going to be talking about reflections. So this is going to be for Tuesday the 24th. So office hours again, 1 to 2 p.m. Google Meet like every day has been. And here is our FLT. And again, like usual, please copy everything. So I'll move on in 3, 2, 1. 0. I'm assuming you already paused and you went to do it. And that you already did this as well. Okay, so Chinese word of the day is 镜子, which means mirror. So something that you might have guessed as to why I chose this specific word might be, well, you see this word everywhere. Reflection. Reflect. So we're going to be using the idea of reflection. I mean, you see it in the title also. So let's look at how does this work in mathematics. So let's consider this point, 5, 3. So let's find where that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's reflect it over the x-axis. That means the x-axis is going to be like a mirror. So it's like you have point, mirror, and then other point. So that means we can go down this way, and then we get this. So notice how that kind of reflects that way. So the question is, well, what is that point? So I'm just going to do it in yellow so that we see the difference there. So the x value is still 5, but the y value changes. Now it's -3. So what happened to the xy coordinates? I want you to take a minute, look at that, just describe literally what is the change. So I'll give you 3, 2, 1, 0. So the only thing that changes is the y value. So y turned negative. So for reflection over the x-axis, apparently y turns negative. Okay. So now let's look at the next one, reflection over the y-axis. So let's start, again, that same point, 5, 3. Now, the y-axis is going to act as a mirror. So here's our mirror. So it's going to reflect over the other way. So it's going to go somewhere over here. Well, it's going to have to be up here, same level, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like that. Alright, so what's that coordinate? Well, it's the same y coordinates because it's the same height. So that's going to be 3. But we went 5 to the left now, so that's -5. So I'll give you 30 seconds. Look at the coordinates. What is the difference between them? 3, 2, 1, 0. Moving on. So now, x turned negative. Alright, interesting. Now let's see what some other things turn into. Reflection over the line x equals y. Oh, y equals x. So let's first draw the point, or get the point, 5, 3. So we have that. Now let's look at the line that we're going to go through. So I believe if I do that, that should give us the line y equals x. So now we're going to reflect over that line. So that's going to be interesting. Well, we see this thing. We can go kind of like this way. And notice that it's going to be there. So now let's look at, what is that point? Well, that's going to be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 3, comma 5. So 30 seconds, look at this. What changed? 3, 2, 1, 0. What you probably notice is X and Y changed. Or more, I guess, better way to say it is switched. So in transformation notation, so that's just like original, this changes into something. What happens is XY turns into YX. Alright, that's interesting. And then next, reflection over y equals negative x. So let's get yet again 5, 3, and let's see what happens. Now let's get that line, y equals negative x. So now let's see, what can we do? Well, if we reflect it over that, it's going to have to go this way and then to the same kind of area like that. So if we make a line like that, it's going to have to somehow go through a thing. So it looks like this length over here, if we were to move that around to the other side, it would be like, okay, so we have the approximate area. So it's kind of like that point. So I'm just going to do that real quick. Put a point, then erase this stuff so that it's not a distraction. Then I'll rewrite that point. Okay, so we see those two mirror images. So let's see, what is that? -1, -2, -3. And then we'll go down by 5. Okay, so we have -3, -5. So again, 30 seconds. What happened? And what I want you to do is fill this in. 3, 2, 1, 0. So it looks like X and Y switched again, but it's not just that. They switched, yes, but they also became negative of each other. So that 5, 3 turned into -5, -3, -5. Alright, that's interesting. So now let's look at, well, how can we actually work with this? So if you need to, please copy this down. It just summarizes what we did up there. Basically, across the x-axis, the y just turns negative. Across the y-axis, the x turns negative. Across y equals x, they switch. Across y equals -x, they switch and become negative. So I'm going to move on in 3, 2, 1, 0. So just because of time, I'm going to do one example here, and you'll have to work out some of the other problems on your own. I don't want this to become like a ridiculously long video like the other ones that are like 30 or so minutes long. I know that that's kind of the last thing you want to see when you are at home, possibly with other responsibilities. So yeah, I'm going to be as reasonable as possible. Alright, so let's try this example. So I'm just going to go 5 all around. Probably not the most even, but you know, it works. Alright, 1 to 5, 1 to 5, negative 1 to negative 5, negative 1 to negative 5. X, Y. Okay, so let's first plot these points. Because if we look at the instructions, we're going to reflect the figure with the given vertices across the given line. So let's first just graph the points. 2, 0, 2, 2, 5, 2, and 5, 1. D, E, F, G. Okay. And then I'm just going to connect those real quick that way using my trusty pen tool. Alright, so we're going to reflect it over the line y equals x. So if you remember from the chart, y equals x means that we're going to take the xy coordinates and we're just going to switch the x and the y. So that means, again, you can do this thing again. Pre-image, image, and this is just a really good way to organize what in the world is going on with all those points. So that's 2, 0, 2, 2, 5, 2, 5, 1. So if we go to the prime versions now, D prime, E prime, F prime, G prime, what's going to happen is we literally take the x and the y and we switch them. In the case of E, nothing happens because x and y are the same. Alright, D prime, 0, 2. E prime, still 2, 2. F prime, 2, 5. G prime, 1, 5. Alright. So let's get that. I'm not sure if you can hear my desktop audio, but I'm getting like emails and notifications from the school. So if you do, then oops, sorry. Yeah, this version of OBS that I'm using to record with is slightly different than the one that I'm used to, which I used to do it on Mac. So yeah. Apparently this one can pick up desktop audio possibly a lot easier. Okay, so if we look at that line, y equals x, we see that this thing reflects pretty perfectly over it. So that's a nice thing. That's what we want. So that's essentially what you're going to do on all these other problems. So look over at this thing. Use that thing, and then use a table and just switch the points, make them negative, all that nice stuff. So if you need a picture or you need to work on that, again, just like usual, please go back, pause. Alright, so for this one, I would like you to spend 5 minutes doing this. So time, 5 minutes. And then I'm going to assume that you already did it and tried it in 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. Pre-image, image. So what's going to happen here is going to reflect over the y-axis. So that means x, y. This is one of those ones where one of them turns negative. In this case, the x turns negative. You can remember this one by just saying the opposite of this turns negative. That's just a way to remember it. Okay, so let's first write those points. M, N, P. 1, 2, 1, 4, 3, 3. So we're going to have the same thing, but prime versions. So the y stays the same. The x's, on the other hand, turn into negative. So now let's graph those things so that we can see what that looks like. Let's see, so we need a maximum of 4. So let's just go 4 all around. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't have to do yours exactly like mine. I just like to skip one in between so that it's easier to see. I know that if you're using graph paper, that is a lot more expensive than regular paper. So if you want to save some and just skip one line each, that's perfectly fine as well. Okay. So MNP 1, 2, 1, 4, and 3, 3. MNP. Alright. Now let's graph the other one, the image. Negative 1, 2. Negative 1, 4. Negative 3, 3. M prime, N prime, P prime. And if we look at this, it's pretty much symmetrical, reflected over the y-axis. Wait, I made a small mistake there. And we are not going to complain about it and go like, OMG, the teacher made a mistake. We're just going to correct it. Oh, that's wrong too. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm pretty sure you get the point. It's a lot easier to do this on paper than on Photoshop. It's very easy to make mistakes as you're doing graphing digitally. And again, this is just kind of an example to show you, hey, if you make mistakes, mistakes are fine. You just correct the mistake if you notice that you made one. I noticed that my figures looked a little bit different, so I'm like, wait, that can't be right if they're reflections. So I figured, oh, that's how you just change it then. Alright, again, pause if you need to copy or whatever. I'm moving on now. Alright, x-axis, again, 5 minutes on your own. Then I'm going to move on in 3, 2, 1, 0. Now, assuming that you have already done this on your own. Okay, so x-axis, what that means is for xy, remember the opposite one of this changes. So y becomes negative. So we got pre-image, image. Let's see, we got 4 points now. A, B, C, D. And that's going to give us A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. So now we're going to find what those coordinates are and plot them. So we don't need to find the coordinates for A, B, C, D because that's given to us. We have 3, 4, 3, 1, negative 2, 1, negative 2, 4. So now we're going to make the y's become negative. So x is the same. We do not change x at all. But now we change all those to negatives. Alright, looking here, all we need is 4s all the way, so let's do that. It saves a little bit of time rather than needing to do 5 just because you're drawing a little bit less. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's plot those. 3, 4 is A, 3, 1 is B, and then negative 2, 1 is C, negative 2, 4 is D. Alright, so I guess we have a rectangle. So that means that'll be easier to draw, actually. I don't really need the pen tool. I just need shift. Okay. Now we got 3, negative 4, 3, negative 1, negative 2, negative 1, and negative 2, negative 4. So A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. You just connect them together, and you have your image right there. Right there. Great. All right, let's move on to the next one. Then I'll give you your you-do section. This is the last one we're going to do for today as an example, and then you have your you-do section for you to completely practice on your own. So let's spend another, again, suggested time is 5 minutes, and I'll move on in 3, 2, 1, 0. So this is one of those y equals things. So x and y is going to change, but you have that negative, so remember that's going to make this a negative. So if you need to, pause and look back at the thing. Pre-image, image. Okay, so we have 3 points now. And here's the prime versions. Alright. So let's see, we have negative 4, negative 2, negative 1, negative 1. And then negative 1, negative 4. Okay, so now we're going to switch both of those. So 2, 4, and they're going to be, if we do negative to that, that's positive. Same thing with there. And 4, 1. They're going to be positive because, again, if you do negative to it, it's going to be positive. Let's see, looks like we just need 4s all around again. Yay, less writing. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so here we have our axis. Yes, draw a new axis every single time. Alright, negative 4, negative 2. We got that for S, and then negative 1, negative 1. That is going to be your value for your point for T, and then negative 1, negative 4. So we have S, T, U. Alright, now let's go to the next one. 2, 4. 1, 1. And 4, 1. S prime, T prime, U prime. And I'll just connect those. I forgot to connect the other one, but that's fine. I'll go back and do it. By the way, I don't remember if I've mentioned this, but you do not need to color code like I am. I'm just doing this to make it easier for you to see. Okay, so that's what we have. Again, if you need to, pause, copy, moving on. So here's your you-do section. You're going to do one of each thing. So yeah, just work on that, do that, copy this. I'm going to end the video so it's not too long. Alright, see y'all. Have a good day.